back to Between the Ribs with Jonathan Morris on Florida Man Radio.
Happy birthday. Oh, no, that's probably wrong. Is that bad of me?
No, I think you should just get all into it.
I was trying to do my Marilyn Monroe for JFK, but was it rude of me? It's the 61st anniversary of JFK's assassination. I probably shouldn't sing happy birthday to him.
61 years ago?
JFK was assassinated.
That's crazy. What year was it?
61 years ago.
Okay. I can't math, Jonathan.
Well, we're in 2024. So 24 years ago
60. It would be
was 2000.
Okay. Oh my God. Why can't you just give me a date?
I want you to use your brain.
I don't want to use my brain.
How about 1965?
Okay, 1965. Wow.
No,
Okay.
1963. Sorry,
Okay.
my bad.
Can you imagine? That was less than 15 years before either of us were born.
My mama was
That's
14.
Yeah, I think my parents were 15.
Yeah, my dad was a little bit older. My mom was in high school or whatever school they were in
Yeah,
back
high
then,
school.
in 14, 15 years old.
I remember my mom saying she walked home from school and then just sat in front of the TV for the rest of the day with her mom.
It was a big deal.
Yeah.
And he was, okay, I don't know. I don't want to say this the right way or the wrong way because I don't care how this comes out. As a Democrat, right, like he's supposed to be the enemy. Like Democrats are the enemy, right? But are they all bad?
You know, my kid and I were having this conversation last night. He was like, "Mom, he was a Democrat, but did your side of the family support him, or did did y'all like him? Was he a good president?" I was like, "I wasn't around." And then he asked me, he's like, you weren't alive when he." I about smacked him. But anyway,
Wow.
I don't think that I wasn't there, but were we as critical as we are now? I think the rise of the internet has allowed a lot of us to be a lot more opinionated.
Yes.
So we might have disagreed with him, but it's not that we told everybody. And now we've got 5,000 followers that we just told. You know what I mean?
And
every day.
And the internet personalities that people are now getting their news from were not around. So you had to turn on the nightly news, the 6 o'clock or the 11 o'clock, to hear what the news channel said about the president. And then if you got something in the paper that backed it up, you're like, wow, they said it on TV. I read it in the paper. Maybe it's true, right?
Did they question if it was true? It was probably
Well, the other thing about
more accurate.
The other thing about back then, and obviously, like, man, if you could go back and ask questions, like I never thought about asking my grandpa these questions because back then you trusted the news because they just gave you the news. So back then, if you would have asked my grandpa back in 1955, 1960, hey, do you think they'll ever just like come on TV and just tell you all their opinions and they won't give you like the news? He'll be like, what are you talking about?
That's not news.
He's like, and that's the other thing. My grandpa used to say, anybody can read the news, Jonathan. Right? He's like, don't ever glorify somebody on TV. He's like, anybody can pull news off a press machine and read it to you. That's all they do. But that's all they're supposed to do. And in the old days, I think Walter Cronkite was the last one maybe, but they used to read you the news. This and if it bleeds, it leads, right? Mm-hmm. That's always been around. But they would always start with like the worst stuff, like, 2 people shot at a corner store or tragic accident on the I-85 or whatever, and then today in the world, or they gave reports about the stock market and this happened and that happened, and president had a meeting today with so-and-so, but there was nothing else added to it. It was just the news, and they went through their news stories, and they told them to you, and then you could make up your mind if you thought the world was going to hell in a handbasket, or if you thought the president was a crappy guy or a good guy. They didn't tell it to you. And that's what's drastically changed. That and the fact that now we all believe in the internet. Our heart and our soul's in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because we can go and look for information to back up either side of any subject.
Right. And prove, I'm right. I found this on X. I found this on Twitter. I found this on...
Yeah, but you're wrong because I also found this. I mean...
And there's no common ground. Because my guy said this. Your guy said that. Well, your guy's an idiot. Well, your guy's an idiot. Well, my guy... It's crazy. And then...
people just didn't talk like that back then, I don't think. I don't think people were as critical and nasty as they are.
We weren't.
What?
We weren't.
That's not. Stop that.
Okay, how would you say that?
We weren't. Weren'tin is.
We weren't.
No.
We weren't that nasty back then.
Weren'tin.
Wharton. There's no E, it's Wharton. Like Warden and we're not together. We weren't that nasty.
But you added an E in.
Huh?
On the end. Wharton.
We weren't that nasty.
Okay, just.
Well, that's past tense. So
makes
we,
them-
listen, you don't understand English?
Not
Past,
yours.
present, future. So like, we weren't that nasty. Or we weren't that nasty. It's how you use it in a sentence. Come on, Heather. My gosh. Catch up with the times, man.
I'm trying.
We need a dictionary, a Jonathan Morris dictionary.
See, it's just more misinformation.
What? My information is correct. It's always correct. I never give out bad information. You're from Florida. You've been in Florida a long time. Oh, I wanted to say this about JFK.
Oh, yeah.
He's dead. That's not what I wanted to say. And I'm not laughing about JFK being dead. My mama said he was going to be a great president. My mom was a Republican. My dad's a Republican. They've always been Republican. But they were like everybody, and I don't know the facts. I've never looked them up. But he won like crazy big, right? Like it was a landslide. Like he was the man, right?
He was well liked, yeah.
Yes. There's a rumor going around
A new rumor about him?
that one of the reasons he ain't alive no more, that he was assassinated, is because he made a personal vow and he made it public to dismantle the CIA and shred them and spread them into the wilderness like splinters from a tree. Have you heard that? Why do you have the hiccups?
I don't know.
Hey, Heather,
It didn't work. It didn't work. Stop.
I'm going to hold you upside down and shake you.
I want a video of that. What was the question?
Hiccup. Why JFK ain't alive no more? He was shotted.
He was shot, and I was watching a documentary this week about some magic bullet. One bullet like went through and
Right.
hit 7 different places.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that one either.
They said there's multiple shooters, right? That's the real deal? There was 2 shooters?
Right, but one bullet.
One bullet. What if they, I know what happened. The one guy shot, it went through JFK into the other gun. The other guy turned it around, shot it back out of his gun.
No. They
and
had
went
it.
back
They
to-
had like this chart where it went through his head and then came back through the seat, then went through his arm and then through his leg and then back. I don't know. It was
Guns weren't as strong as they are today. I'm going to use weren't a bunch in the next hour. Guns weren't as strong as they were yet today.
You use that word again.
They weren't. It's a true story.
All right.
All right, I'm sorry. Ammunition rounds were not as properly prepared as they are today.
Oh, okay.
So they're being less accurate and more susceptible to a ricochet.
That wasn't a word either.
Susceptible? It's not a word? Are you serious?
Susceptible, maybe? God, I just feel like I've been drinking.
Heather's 3 sheets in the wind, guys. She's fully dressed and all toxed up. She's toddied up. Your veins showing in the middle of your forehead. All right. JFK made a vow to dismantle, is that a word? Yes. Dismantle the CIA. And I'm going somewhere with this. Hiccup. I'm going somewhere with this. Donald Trump made a vow to do these same things. He's talking about the corrupt CIA, the FBI, the DOJ, showing all these different cabinet positions that we don't need and breaking down the federal government and how obese it is. Obese it is. No T, according to Heather.
He felt that stare.
I did. I saw that stink eye. And I'm not even going to say the words out loud, but I think you understand where I'm going with this. Could Donald Trump's fate be similar? Because if you go all the way back 61 years, there were people back then that didn't want the system messed with. There were big interests back then that had a system of ways things they wanted to go, and JFK was the Donald Trump of back then, I think. I think JFK coming in is like, hey, yeah, I'm a Democrat. Our families are Democrats. We all run Democrat, but we're going to shake this thing up. We're getting rid of the CIA. We're going to check out this. We're going to get rid of this. We're going to ask not what your government can do for you, but what you can do for your government. Remember that? No, you don't. You weren't there, but you've heard the speech.
Yes, I've heard the
So
speech.
now you remember it. All right. It was kind of like the same analogy today, and this is where I have been answering all my liberal crazy friends out there. Why are you scared of freedom? That's all I respond to them now. Why are you scared of freedom? Because they're going crazy. Trump's going to bankrupt the country. We're going to be who's going to pay for all the debt? How are we going to operate as a government? I'm like, we're not. That's the point. We're not supposed to. You know, that guy on Cuomo was bragging about the Democrats. We came together and we raised the debt ceiling. I don't know what I was doing. I was doing something. You're like, what's he doing? Pointing to the Schindlers. They were bragging that they without the Democrats, the debt ceiling would not be raised. Trump and whoever else is going to, what's the guy's name? Not Rick Scott, the guy that won. Oh, what's his last name? Gerther? Oh, God, my brain died.
Oh, I hadn't heard of him before.
Yeah, the new guy that took over. Okay, they're going to have to come to Hakeem Jeffries to get the debt ceiling raised. Why?
How about lower the debt?
How about lower the debt? How about this? If you can't run your budget at your business, at your house, you don't get to magically vote and raise your debt.
Well, I think they would say that about Trump, too, with all the bankruptcies.
I understand that. And Trump did exceed the debt a lot with some of the stuff. The deficit did add under Trump, but it added under every president. There's not it's just part of politics. But I think in the second term, this is what he's focusing on, saying, okay, I don't have anybody to answer to anymore. We're going to get the debt down. While I'm in office, we're going to shrink the government. It's too big. Did you know that the United States government is the largest employer of people in the United States?
Oh, yeah.
And they have people in all 52 states.
Yep.
Is that not the definition of a monopoly or what? They're bigger than any private company out there. If you go back and read the Declaration of Independence, if you go back and read the Constitution, our federal government was not meant for this.
Right. No, it was supposed to be much smaller.
A lot smaller.
But we were also supposed to be smarter and
more independent.
A lot of dumb people out there.
Yes. And it's like we have a nanny state. We have a mom and pop state where it's like, okay, mom and dad's on the way to save you again. You can't buy your own food? Well, here's some checks. Can't pay for your phone bill? Well, here's an Obama phone. You can't pay for this? Well, here's Section 8 housing. You can't do this. And it de-incentivizes, proper word, no word.
I think it's right. I think that's
It takes away from the work effort. Because, and I know this for a fact, we used to have a young lady work for us, a black lady. And she came to me one day because I was giving out some raises. And she's like, boss man. She used to call me boss man. Boss man, I don't want no raise. I was like, what? She's like, you can't give me a raise. I was like, nah, everybody deserves a little extra money. She said, I can't. She's like, you either got to give me this much money, and it was a crazy number, or don't give me nothing. And I was like, why? She's like, because if I report an extra $100 a month, I lose my house. I was like, you lose your house? And this is back 8 years ago.
Yep.
All right, 9 years ago. Yep. All right, so now the fact that they're talking about this in the news today, this has been going on for a long time, where people get in the system, either WIC, welfare, whatever, and we got to take a quick break. But we live in America now that encourages a group of people to not work or to barely work.
To be dependent on government.
To be dependent on the government. And that, my friends, is acidization. Between the ribs. I'll be right back.
There's a lot of men dead, so we can sleep in peace at night when we lay down our head.